told my men they wouldn't be able to kill you if they tried. Glad I was right.
And here we go.
It's the comic book bullies.
Man, you come right out of a comic book.
It's the comic book bullies.
You will bow down before me!
It's the comic book bullies.
Now I am the master.
It's the comic book bullies. It's the comic book bullies. Welcome back to the Comic Book Bullies with Nerds New Bully. I'm your host Leroy, aka the Living Weapon, with my co-hosts.
Yeah, this is Eli, aka the Five Fingers of Death.
That was actually my first choice I was going to use, but I couldn't think of it at the right time. Yeah, and we're back with the episode, and like I said, it's a new Marvel movie that came out. I got on the front. We're going to talk about Shang-Chi. It's a bunch of other stuff we're going to talk about also. But for the majority of the show, we're going to talk about the Shang-Chi movie. I don't know what Eli thought about it. Eli don't know what I thought about it, but we're just going to talk about it and kind of come to terms on what this Marvel movie is. Because anytime we talk about a Marvel movie, the podcast get hits. So why don't you start with that? But before we get to that, Eli, remember last week we were kind of struggling about what we're going to do with Ida. Ida was coming. We didn't know what's going to happen. So I just want to give you a quick recap what was going on with Ida. So like I said, we talked about it. Yeah, it did knock out all of New Orleans power. A bunch of New Orleans people have came to Mississippi. So want to say in the thoughts and prayers, and please let us know when you're leaving, because we know how you New Orleans people are. You know how you New Orleans people are. And Eli, here's the thing. My power did go out.
Oh yeah,
But it went out on Tuesday because Ida left. And then we came back like, you know what? I forgot something. And it came back. And we had a harder storm on Tuesday than we did actually Sunday. Knocked my power out, knocked my internet out, and everything was gone. And all the water was going to the grocery store also. I'm like, damn, people, your pee has been brown all year. Now you want to buy up all the water? You know. But here's the thing. Guess what they left on the shelf? Designated. So I'm proud of my people for not touching Designated, because that is the nastiest ass water you could possibly buy. So no matter what is going on, apocalypse, COVID, Hurricane Ida, hurricane, whatever, not gonna do it. And the next hurricane supposed to be coming is in the L's. And I got scared for a second. I was like, uh-oh. Hurricane Leroy? Turns out it was Larry. So Larry is on the way.
I know Larry.
Do you know? I know Larry too. He's a cool guy. But yeah, this Larry, hopefully this Larry isn't an asshole. Well, the hurricane is an asshole. So, like I said, we're gonna move on to the actual box office numbers. We're gonna just jump into this movie review. We haven't done box office numbers in a while because there's been nothing to talk about, but this week we can. So, Eli, give it to me. What is the number one movie of the week?
I bet it's a Disney movie.
It is always a Disney movie, unless it's Fast and the Furious, but yeah. So, yeah, we're just going to jump into it, and I don't know who all can see that. I'm going to just pretend like you can. So, yes, number one movie this weekend was Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. That was the movie. And also, number two, Eli, your movie, Candyman. Yeah, so it's still hanging in there. And Free Guy, which I haven't seen yet, but I plan on seeing it. Paw Patrol, Jungle Cruise, Don't Breathe 2, all that's fine and dandy. So let's look and see what we got. So Shang-Chi, the weekend, did 71 million, which is I'm pretty sure that's the record. Let's see. I think that's the record for the last 2 years of movie box office. So I think we're back on track. Let me just make sure, and then we'll go to it. So because I know Black Widow had the record. No. What's opening? Original release. I don't have the numbers in front of me. Anyway, what's going on is that I'm just gonna say that it's number one movie of the year, of the last 2 years, really, because like I said, 2020 doesn't count. So we're just gonna go with this. And yeah, that being said, we're just gonna jump into it. So before we actually jump into the actual movie review of it, let's just do it like a recap of Shang-Chi. Because here's the thing I started realizing, Eli, people don't know who this character is. They're thinking that Marvel just invented this guy like, 2 years ago when they started making the movie, and that's it, when he's been around for decades. Like, Shang-Chi is a thing. Now, we grew up calling him Shang-Chi. That's what we call him, Shang-Chi. That's what we always knew him as. We don't know Shang-Chi and all stuff like that. That's we know him. So his name is Shang-Chi, dadgummit. That's what we're gonna call him. So we're just gonna go with that. So first off, let's start with a refresher course. So the refresher course we're gonna go on. Let's talk about where is Shang-Chi, what is Shang-Chi, and where did he come from? Basically came from, and what is that right there? Nope, that's not it. Basically what he came from is that he's actually an offshoot of another character. Another character we're gonna talk about is Fu Manchu. He came from Fu Manchu. Fu Manchu, Marvel bought the rights to Fu Manchu back in the 70s. Like I said, Fu Manchu is an old novel. Oh, my fault. The Insidious Dr. Fu Manchu. I almost wanted to say the Fiendish Dr. Wu, but no, not the same guy. Kind of, but not really the same guy. Oh, and Christopher Lee actually played him in the movie one time. So you can tell how problematic that was. But let's see what we got here. Let's see, Gabe. Yes,
Gabe's in the
internet.
house.
Gabe's in the house. Yeah, some lady on the internet to correct everyone on the internet. Now, here's the thing. People need to stop being assholes. Yes, some people are going to say Shang-Chi, some people are going to say Shang-Chi. We're comic fans. That's what we do. When we grew up, we didn't know how to pronounce this stuff. People are still saying Thanos. People are still saying Dark Seed. That's just what it is. If that's what they say, it is what it is. Even with Street Fighter, some people say Ryu, some people say Ryu. So if you say something different, don't be an asshole and say, well, actually, correct your bifocals or whatever hell. If you say something different, it's cool. Shang-Chi, whatever. So people need to stop being assholes to correct everybody. What are we talking about? The Insidious Dr. Fu Manchu. So Marvel bought the rights to him in the 70s, wanted to make a comic book of him in the 70s, and decided to make a comic book of him in the 70s, but he's a bad guy. So they decided to invent an original character that was going to be his son, is going to go against the Insidious Dr. Fu Manchu, which was Shang-Chi, where he came from. And he actually teamed up with the characters from the original Fu Manchu novels, and they went on missions and spy missions trying to shut down Fu Manchu, and that's what it was. Now, the reason a lot of people don't know who Shang-Chi was is because his book was never called Shang-Chi. His book was called Master of Kung Fu. Well, Hands of Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu. That's
actually in the first run, it was The Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, which was more of a magazine
like
with comics
pulp.
in it.
It was like a pulp magazine. Yeah. So because he was such a popular character at the time, they basically had 2 books running at the time. And The Deadly Hands of Kung Fu had all the other martial art characters like Colleen Wing, Iron Fist, all the Kung Fu people that showed up, they were there, let's see what we got. What is the Fu Manchu famous for? I mean, what did he do? Okay. Yeah, Fu Manchu is basically a series of novels by a guy named I forgot the guy's name, Rome Saxon, something like that. But he was basically a villain in all this guy's novels, and that's where Marvel decided by the right side to make a movie of this guy. So he's not real, didn't do anything. However, people do say he's problematic because they call him a racist stereotype. Going forward, like I said, Eli actually read. Have you ever read any of the Hands of Kung Fu, Master Kung Fu?
Yeah, this past summer I was reading the Deadly Hand stuff, and it's like a like Black Belt magazine. It's full of articles on martial arts and styles and of fighting, but it's also there was some comics, the Five Tigers, and other comic book martial art comics that appeared in it,
right?
Like
a continuous Dr. No. Basically, yeah, he's kind of like Dr. No. That's almost exactly what he was. Yeah, Dr. No, Dr. Fu Manchu, same guy, this genius, torturous. Basically, he was doing a time of Yellow Peril. Keep in mind, he was written by a white guy.
Yeah.
So he was like the most evil guy you possibly think of because it was all that Yellow Peril, thing that everybody was scared of. And that's what I want to talk about the comic, because the comic, Eli, I read it this afternoon, this weekend. And it's problematic if you read it now.
Yeah, I was reading some of those old comics.
If you read it now,
they're pretty cringy.
They're pretty cringy. Like, they're very outdated. They would get canceled. So I'm not even blaming Marvel for pretty much taking everything out of this comic and just making a brand new movie from it, because I'm gonna just show you some things, Eli. For instance, let's take the first panel. Look at his coloring.
Yeah,
he is literally yellow.
Mm-hmm.
He's an Asian guy that's yellow where everybody else is like color. So that's problem number one. Another thing in the comic, also the original, like I said, in the movie, people know the movie, his mom was this sorceress and shit like that. Not like that in the comics. His mom is white in the comics. Her name, nobody knows. It doesn't even matter. She's one of Dr. Fu Manchu's concubines. And the reason he picked her, because of her genetic superiority. blonde hair, blue eye. Like I said, this is problematic, you know. So he picked the most perfect blonde hair, blue eye Aryan person they could. And the writers of the show, writers of the comic even said why they did it, because they have to have some whiteness in Shang-Chi, otherwise readers wouldn't get behind him. So there you go. He's got a white mom. So that way they can get behind him, because if he was just strictly Asian with the demographic that the comics are aiming for, they wouldn't take him as a lead, you know, because that's one problem with them. Oh, and like I said, as far as Shang-Chi, the character, he's pretty much as stereotypical as you could think of. I mean, he's pretty much, everything he says pretty much like a walking fortune cookie. He's always spitting wisdom and knowledge and stuff like that. And everybody in the book that talks to him calls him every racial slur under the sun. Good guys, bad guys don't matter. I was just casually reading this, and yes, Nazis are in the book. I may talk about that later on, but yeah, it's just everything you can think of is just wow. And this is what they made. Like I said, it kept going. And he actually hit right before, like, even though the Kung Fu craze hit, he was right before the Bruce Lee craze hit. So when the Bruce Lee craze hit, they just pretty much just turned him into Bruce Lee in the comics.
Yeah, they turned him into Bruce Lee.
Yeah, and they pretty much marketed it as Marvel's Bruce Lee. So they just drew whatever Bruce Lee did, they drew him in the comics. Now, why did Shang-Chi fade away? Why is it, if he was such a popular character back in the 70s, why we don't know about him? Well, one thing, like I said, the Kung Fu craze died off. You know, pretty much when Bruce Lee died, the craze went with him. And also another character kind of took his spot, Iron Fist. Because Iron Fist was another Kung Fu guy at the time, but he wasn't like half Eurasian or anything like that. He was a white guy. So it's easier for the fans to get behind him. And on top of that, he had superpowers. So he could play in the field with other Marvel heroes and it wouldn't be out of place. Where when Shang-Chi popped up and he's in the Spider-Man books like that, it was like, why is he fighting Spider-Man? Like, he has no powers, you know. Where Iron Fist, it makes a little bit more sense. So he kind of became the karate guy.
And
where
then plus,
yeah.
And then plus when he teamed up with Luke Cage, that sort of melded together the whole urban martial arts, you know, fad that had been going on. Because when the Kung Fu craze did hit, it was mainly in the cities and urban audiences. You know, they related to those movies early on because all those old Shaw Brothers and old school Kung Fu movies, they were all there. There was a strong sense of you know, fighting oppression. That's what most of those movies are about. You know, especially at the time in Hong Kong. Hong Kong was under British rule. So they weren't under communist rule. So they had a lot more, like, you know, freedom of expression, and they can, you know, art had a little more lax with their art, but they're also, you know, they were under this like Western rule. So like the identity and culture kind of came out in the movies, you know, that's why, you know, they went to go see Kung Fu movies to see their Chinese identity. So, and all these movies, yes, Bruce Leroy, and all these movies were mostly about fighting oppression, invaders. They were fighting the Manchus, you know, or the Japanese. You know, Bruce Lee, Fist of Fury was about the Japanese occupation. So it was always these characters fighting against invaders and oppression. And at the time, the civil rights was going on in the United States. So when these movies came over, they really resonated to the urban audiences and the civil rights movement. And that's why they blew up the way they did. So.
Right. So you had two genres also. Like I said, you had the Kung Fu craze going on in the 70s, and you had the black exploitation craze going on at the same time, which also hit with the urban audience. Also.
And they started cross like, you know, influencing each other. Yeah.
Are we going to play a clip of Dolomite? Are we going to play a clip of Dolomite?
Well, that. Yeah. Dolomite was doing Kung Fu, but then you had Kung Fu movies using like sound, like you know, like soundtrack to like Shaft, like funky, you know, soundtracks, like Motown, you know, soundtracks to their Kung Fu movies in China, you know. So they were like
two cultures kind of like blending and you know, merging together. Yeah. And I was going to talk about how, you know, Asian Kung Fu movies kind of rip off black culture also. We'll talk about that later on. But yeah, also want to just mention what else we were going to mention. Like I said, we talked about Iron Fist kind of like took the spotlight for Shang-Chi, where he kind of like fell to the background, even though he does pop up now and then. Like I said, he trained Spider-Man, you know, when he lost his spider sense. He trained Domino when she lost her powers. He was an Avenger, you know, in Hickman's run. He was Heroes for Hire. So he pops up, you know, time to, what, who said what? I'm trying, here we go. 616, man, what we got. I just watched the film. Gotcha. Let's see. Love the martial arts film. Didn't even feel like a Marvel before. It did, but it didn't. You know, we'll talk about that when we get into the actual review of the movie. But that was, you know, one of the good things about it. Coming with we are dropping knowledge with your entertainment. We try to, yeah. Now, of course, we always get that asshole that's gonna make the comment, talk more about Batman. You know, don't hit but that's what we do. We're gonna give you the you know, the food and the liquor, you know, both together. So now, like I said, now even though Shang-Chi as a comic book character kind of faded to the side while other characters took over, they were always trying to make a movie of him. He was always going to be their launching pad to start their Marvel studio movies. For instance, Stan Lee was trying to get a Shang-Chi movie off in the 90s by guess who? Eli, guess who the lead was going to be?
The guy from Mortal Kombat. Oh no shit! I did not know that.
Yeah, Brandon Lee. Yeah, he was gonna. He really tried to do it. Tried to had dinner with him. You know, trying to get the studio movie off the ground also. But of course, we know why that didn't happen. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, he really tried to get it off the ground, but it never happened. Also, in the 2000s, you know, when Marvel Studios decided, screw, we're gonna make our own movies. They had a whole list of movies. Like I said, we had Iron Man, had the Hulk, had the Punisher movie that was by Lionsgate. But they were also going to make an Ant-Man, which got pushed way back. They were going to make a Black Panther movie. They're going to make a Black Widow movie. And they were going to make a Shang-Chi movie. They were going to make all those. But all they got killed when they got bought by Disney. And racist ass Ike Perlmutter said, Black Widow got to go. Black Panther got to go. Shang-Chi got to go. I want nothing but white heroes. They can be sidekicks, but I only want white male heroes. So that's why it took so long for these movies to get it going on. But if it was up to the schedule of Disney never would have bought those movies, we would have got a Shang-Chi movie like back in, you know, the 2000s. Who would have played them? I don't know.
Jet Li. I mean, at the
Probably.
2000s, yeah.
It was the 2000s. I mean, it would have been
Jackie
like Jet Li would have been a no-brainer. Yeah. Jackie Chan, I think, might have been too old around that time, but Jet Li, Jet Li might have been too old at the time. Like early 2000s, yes, I can see Jet Li easily pulling this off. You know. But that being said, we don't have that. We have Simu Liu. Like I said, I've been knowing this guy for a while. He is, like I said, he's from Kim's Convenience, which has nothing to do with Kung Fu. It is a Korean/Canadian sitcom where they own a convenience store. And he, like I said, he plays the dumb, hot Kelly Bundy type, you know, son, brother / guy, you know, always got his shirt off, always got a different girl in every show, never knows what's going on. He's that type of guy, but he's charismatic. That's why I knew that he could pull off this role. So as far as him in this movie, I had no issue, no concerns, but now he's gonna pull it off. I remember back in the day hearing rumors of Wizard Magazine, they want to annually direct in 2000s. Yeah, they, like I said, they've been trying to get a Shang-Chi movie.
Oh, because he directed Crouching Tiger.
Yeah, and the Incredible Hulk.
That's probably what it was.
That's probably what it was. He was like, after that, he was like, yeah, I'm done with Marvel. No more. I think that's it. Okay, so now we're just gonna jump into the review. We're gonna jump into the actual review of the movie. Say we talked about, like I said, I don't know what Eli thought about the movie. I haven't saw any tweets or reviews, anything. I purposely didn't say anything about it. I want to save it for now. We're just gonna jump into it. So, like I said, going into the movie, this is already one of my more anticipated Marvel projects that came out. I look for this more than Black Widow, more than Eternals, more than whatever the hell came. Oh, Black Widow came out. Yeah. So I was actually looking forward to this. And I was like, okay, so I know Marvel is trying to blend, you know, martial arts, you know, with their Marvel formula, and they're trying to put it together and trying to see how this works out. This can either go bad or it can go good because it could be too much going on, you know. But I thought, honestly, Eli, they blended it as perfectly as you can get with the Marvel movie. Like I said, as far as like the stunt work and all the stuff like that, I think it's on par with what we get from Asian Hong Kong cinema. So if it's on par, and maybe I'm saying the best, but I'm saying it's on par with Asian Hong Kong cinema. So if it's on par with Asian Hong Kong cinema, that means it is hands down the best action we get in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because nothing in there compares to even halfway what they do with those movies. So that part sells it. Like I said, Shang-Chi, I was already sold on Simu Liu. I was already sold on him. Awkwafina, had no idea who she is. I never met her from a can of paint. Talk about later on. However, I was sold on their relationship, their platonic relationship. They felt like friends. Whether they are or not, they felt like it at least. Tony Leung, like I said, this is actually his first American role. He said he didn't want to do any American roles unless he something came along that, you know, caught his attention. And when this came around, that's it. But like I said, he is a Hong Kong legend. Like I said, all those John Woo movies he was in. You know, he's a romantic lead over there, as you can see, and they could tell in this he's a romantic lead in this one. He has that presence as, you know, the Mandarin. And like I said, as far as being a villain, he's one of the most charismatic, coolest villains Marvel has ever had. You know, he's one of those guys that make you think like, damn, yeah, you try to take over the world, but maybe it's okay if you do it, I guess, you know. So I got that feeling from him. He actually felt like a good, strong, stern dad, mentor type, hard, all that role. Basically, to me, he stole the movie. He stole the movie. He was the best performance out of everybody's movie. Had Michelle Yeoh, like I said, former Bond girl, former Jackie Chan stunt team coordinator, also like that. It all works, you know. And like I said, we were going back and like I know you want to talk about how you saw all different influence. There's so many. This movie is a love letter to Hong Kong cinema. It really is. Now, some people say homage, some people say ripping off. It reminds me very, very where they were doing. Even with Shang-Chi saying, I don't want trouble. And where's it come from? It came from Jackie Chan, who always says that, which, like I said, the scenes are very close to each other, just like Jackie Chan fights with props and stuff like that. He was also fighting with props and stuff like that. You know,
yeah, that bus scene was straight up, Jackie Chan shit.
Not on the bus scene, but the scene after that, also the scene we went to the when they was fighting outside, you know, with the bamboo sticks like that. That was also Jackie Chan.
Well, and also Jet Li, like Jet Li does a lot of that shit, and is like when he was the Once Upon a Time in China movies, the Shoei Hark movies, there was a lot of that bamboo scaffolding, you know, wire work stuff going on in those movies. So yeah, like there was all these different, like each fight almost had, okay, there's a Jackie Chan fight, there's your wire work fight, there's your wuxia shit. The ending was all about, you know, sword play, fantasy, wuxia, you know, epic fantasy battle shit, you know, Dynasty Warriors, live action Dynasty Warriors.
I was just about to say Dynasty Warriors. I like that. The beginning of it reminded me of Dynasty Warriors. So, and also that Jet Li movie Hero, which was almost, it seemed like almost a rip off of Hero.
Well, Wong Kar-wai, the guy who directed that, he makes like very like, his films are great. I mean, he did, and Tony Leung was in a bunch of his movies. And you know, Tarantino, Christopher Nolan eat off his whole plate, you know.
Right.
So there was a lot of that, you know, those somber moments of like, you know, the wind blowing or the water and stuff like that, which like Wong Kar-wai is always like incorporating those natural elements into like his martial arts fights, you know, the slow motion, then you see the water.
It almost feels like a dance, or leaves floating, stuff like that. Like, and that's another thing about this movie, Eli. You always talk about Marvel cinematography on this. The cinematography on this was great. I think out of the Marvel movies, it was probably the best one. Like, even take this scene right here. Like, it was a brief scene, but it was just like out of Skyfall, you know, which won an award for cinematography, whatever the guy's name was.
Choreography-wise, that was probably my favorite scene. I mean, the death dealer fight, even though it was in the shadows, and I was like, you know, the choreography on that was like straight out of like, you know, 90s Hong Kong, you know. Right.
And like I said, even the fight scene between Mandarin and, you know, Shang-Chi's mom, that was right out of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, you know, all that stuff.
And that's like, it was cool to see those elements, because like, you know, what was his name? Wei Wu. What was his real name? Not Mandarin, but he had a real name. Wenwu. His fight was all about power and force and boxing and fists and stuff, and she was all Tai Chi and deflecting and going with the flow and being all like,
and that's one of the major themes of the movie, like the entire movie. Like, that was just a scene, but it's exactly like you said. Like, she was defense, he was offense. She never actually attacked him. She used his movements against him, and that's one of the things I like about the end of the movie. And one of the main things about the movie is that Shang-Chi has to accept both sides of himself. It's the yin and the yang.
Yin and yang.
It's yin and yang. Like I said, it's all about philosophy.
Yeah, Taoism.
Right, because the thing is, he's denying part of himself because he's ashamed of who he is. Like I said, I got a whole thing up right there. So he has to accept both sides of him. But the thing is, he tries to fight his father the way his father trained him, which is why he can't beat him, which is why he got his ass kicked. So until he learns how to fight like his mother, open and palm, defense, use your movements against you, that's how he's able to beat his father. So he has to understand and accept both sides of him. So it's almost like the fighting of this movie dictates the storytelling of this movie, just like we get with Hong Kong cinema, you know. So it influences. So it's not just, you know, like icing on the cake or cover where it's just a Marvel movie with a bunch of Asian people. No, they actually go deep into Hong Kong cinema. Like you see a bunch of what was that movie? Kung Fu Hustle in this movie and stuff like that. There was so many Asian stuntmen in this movie that were like from that era, back when Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan were doing their thing, that were in this movie. I don't have time to name all of them, but there was a bunch of them. So yeah, man, it was like I said, it's and the actual stuntman of the movie. I mean, not the stunt coordinator of the movie. Stunt coordinator of the movie was Brad Allen. At the end where it says "Rest in peace, Brad Allen."
Yeah.
So yeah. So he was the only white guy on Jackie Chan's stunt team. So he was back there fighting when all this stuff was going on. So he was the stunt coordinator of this movie, and he passed last month before the movie was actually released. So yeah, so damn, that was.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. And then when I saw that, I was like, oh no shit. So.
Callisto and Lattice, they could see it before. Yeah. So,
well, also like Once Upon a Time in China, Jet Li as Wang Fei Hung, who's played. Wang Fei Hung is like a folk hero in China, and everybody's played him. Jet Li, Donnie Yen, yeah. But Once Upon a Time in China, like that whole series is great, and there's a lot of that scaffolding, wire work, and yeah. So yeah, I mean, there was a lot of stuff. Like the beginning reminded me of Bride with White Hair, which is a great movie, where they're falling in love while fighting, and that's like a big.
And I knew you were gonna have more details and more knowledge on this than I do. Like I said, I have enough passing knowledge on Hong Kong cinema to start a table conversation. But I know you're the guy.
Yeah, I could do a whole podcast on this.
Right. Mandarin with love high ties industry, so a terrorist organization took the name of 10 rings and therefore named the villain Mandarin. Right, because that's the thing. When Wu is actually not the Mandarin, they made up the name Mandarin for when they created Trevor Slatter because they didn't know what his name was.
Yeah, and so it was cool to see that. It was like them reclaiming the image, all that. Yes, those old comics, they were cringy and problematic as fuck. The Fu Manchu being the villain, being his father, the Mandarin, and them sort of addressing that. That's all just bullshit. That's us, American stereotype, racial stereotypes. Right. Even in the new comic that we're reading, the new Shang-Chi comic, where he says, "Yeah, I purposely talk like that to throw people off."
Right.
I spoke in broken English, on purpose, to seem less of a threat. So it was cool that they addressed those. Those problematic stereotypes, in
right, about how America takes their stereotypes, what they think they are, and stuff like that. Yeah. So all that was good. Oh, also, even now, here's the thing about this movie. Like I've been reading some reviews about what other people think about it, Eli, and a lot of people saying the movie lost them when they went to the fantasy element of it, when it went all DBZ or whatever the fuck was going on. Like they like the street fighting better. Me personally, like I said, your mouth may vary on that. What do you think about it? Me personally, that elevated the movie to me. I felt like it was a escalation to it. And when it went to the fantasy element, it was still there for me.
I mean, I like the ending is what did it for me. As a martial arts fan, I thought the movie was okay. The fights were watered down. The choreography's watered down, but I expected that. I knew Disney.
It's the MCU, right?
Yeah, I knew Disney or Marvel wasn't going to get, Corey Yuen or Wu Ping to choreograph their fights. I knew that.
Right.
So like the first, the first two acts of the movie were just watered down Disney-fied version of Kung Fu. But the ending with the big battle, that's okay. If you're gonna pump Disney money into wuxia fantasy shit,
right?
That's how you do it.
Right. You had a damn kaiju fight in the battle.
Him riding dragons and shit, and
right.
that was dope. I mean, and you see, they have Hong Kong or movies from China that do that shit, but the effects aren't as on par.
Right. They don't have Disney money. Right.
They don't have that Disney money. And so this time Disney had put up the money to see all that shit. So it was cool. I really dug on that, the whole, the Dragon Ball Z flying around, epic fantasy battles that
he damn near throws a Kamehameha at his dad at the end. Like,
yeah, yeah, with the yeah, I thought he was gonna do the like Haruka,
and he just like drive like, nah, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like he knows the crowd expected to do it, and he just doesn't do it. Even
Yeah.
just the fact how the movie just dives into Chinese lore, like all those animals that they show in the end when they go to the other planet or dimension, whatever. Like all those are, animals that are in Chinese lore. Like it's like even walking, like even that chicken, pig, monkey thing. That's a thing from Chinese lore.
The nine-tailed fox or whatever.
The nine-tailed fox in there. Like I said, we talked about it earlier. It's from Naruto. If you're familiar with Naruto, and also Lovecraft Country. Now we know that's from Japan and Korea, but like I said, a lot of this mythology kind of bleeds into each other. So yes, China's going to have a version of their own nine-tailed fox also.
Well,
so
kaiju battle is usually in Japanese,
Right, it's Japanese, but like I said, a lot of times it bleeds into each other.
Yeah,
and I also like it how they had a bad dragon and a good dragon, because the thing is, like in the West, like I said, in Western entertainment and media, dragons are bad. That's just what they are. The reason they're bad is because, like I said, they're lizards tied to the serpents. And from the Bible, we've been trained that serpents are evil. They're tied to evil. That's just how it is. In China, however, like I said, in the East, dragons are considered protectors and good. They have National Dragon Day, and so you have that balance with the dragons also, good dragon, bad dragon. So both cultures, China's not going to get this movie. They already banned it, but if they did, you get the best of both worlds.
I heard that they are going to get it. I thought
they don't have release date. They don't have release date.
They don't have it, but I heard it is going there because of Tony Leung. Because he's such a huge star.
To support him alone.
Yeah,
okay,
he's huge over there. He's like, he's like one of their biggest stars. And that's the thing is like, he stole it for me. That watching Tony Leung, it dawned on me halfway through the movie. I'm like watching, and I even said it out loud. This is the first time I'm seeing Tony Leung speak English.
Yeah, he's turned down American roles for decades.
I've seen him in so much shit. Yeah, he's in Hard Boiled. He's in Bullet in the Head. He's Infernal Affairs. The movie that The Departed was. Yeah, a lot of people don't know The Departed, Martin Scorsese gangster flick. That is a remake of Infernal Affairs. Yeah, starring Tony Leung. Yeah, he's been in Hero. Yes, he's been in, and not just action movies. He's a dramatic roles as well. So watching him, he was just a joy to watch, just to see him, be in a new movie and then speak English for once. It's like, yes, I never seen him speak English before. I've seen this guy in so much shit. I never heard him speak English. Like he hears his real voice,
Right. And just the way he carries himself in the movie, like he doesn't say, he never raises his voice or anything like that. You can tell he's got power behind him. That's just acting. Even he walks in the room, after, spoiler alert, Shang-Chi's, mom gets killed. He walked in the room, he just asks him, which one is he? And he just points to him. He's like, okay. And he just wrecks everybody in the room. You just see Shang-Chi just, shocked over that's who his dad is. Yeah. So that was saying it was a lot of stuff in this movie I liked, Eli.
That's what my favorite parts were, those more dramatic scenes with Tony Leung going those flashbacks, falling in love with his mom, giving up the power, then, reclaiming the power to get revenge and stuff, and then just being tortured. Right. I actually felt bad for him. Like he thought he was hearing her voice, but they were the demons of the souls that he killed.
Right.
And
and then you find out more of the backstory, because he's going and he's like, okay, if my wife isn't there, I'm going to burn this place to the ground anyway, because he's pissed off at them for kicking him out.
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't want anything to do with him because he was a gangster. They were like, if I was here in this world with paradise, those gangsters never would have came up and killed and took my family out. So he's blaming them for what happened to them, and he's thinking if I can do that, if I can't get my wife back, I'm gonna get revenge for you. One way or another, it all goes away. Because people were saying that was a plot hole. Like, no, that's the reason he's doing everything he's doing. He's either trying to get his family back or burn everything down to the ground, one or the other. Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to think what else. There's some other stuff I can hit this movie. Like I said, I don't know how, like I said, I don't know, like when we went to Black Panther, you had that feeling. Well, I had that feeling about, I see reputation on there. So I'm curious about how Asians or Asian Americans feel about it. I almost thought about going to the theater dressed like this. I didn't. But cultural appropriation, I didn't go like
hot Saki Sue.
you suck it to me, suck it to
Suck
you.
it to
Man,
you,
if I
yeah.
had a nickel for every time that movie came on HBO and people kept making Bruce Leroy jokes to me.
Am I
Oh,
the
man.
prettiest? Am I the baddest?
Like every time I heard, I like, oh, it must be on HBO again. Okay. So yeah, but even like I said, the yin and yang and the duality, we're talking about it right here about how, and I think the director even said something about how blue means death, and and gold means life. So basically, it's like he has to accept the blue and the gold, the life and death, because like I said, Shang-Chi, spoiler alert, is an assassin, and he's been trying to run from that his entire life, and only when he accepts that part of himself is when he can actually, fight his father. So I thought that's pretty good. However, Eli, there is like I said, we talk about how problematic the old comics were. There are some people that's boycotting this movie. And the people that are boycotting this movie are black people. Yeah, I'll get to you in a second. I'm gonna hit this one just a second. Let's see what we got. Yeah, I thought the Asians were gonna boycott this. No, the Asian Americans love it. The Asians hate it. Now, the reason they hate it because first off, they pissed off at Hollywood to begin with anyway, because of all the Mulan shit. They pissed off at John Cena for calling Taiwan a country, even though Taiwan is a fucking country. They pissed off at that shit, but they just think Hollywood is Hollywood. They don't have time to Fast and Furious this and Disney is that. No, Hollywood. Fuck all of them. That's what they're like. Her Twitter's Awkwafina. Yeah, 616, man. That's what I was just about to get to. I'm glad you brought that up, even though I was leading there anyway. So, Eli, yeah, Awkwafina is problematic. People were getting ready to boycott this movie strictly for her.
Really?
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know anything about her. If I've seen a movie before,
Because
I don't
she's
remember
appropriating black culture? Is that why?
Yes, because she's appropriating black culture. Apparently,
she was
because
do black people karaoke Hotel California?
Well, not in this movie. We do, but that's a secret. You can't tell anybody. But yeah, not in this movie. She didn't do it. But apparently, when I looked at her IMDb page, she says Awkwafina, actress, comedian, rapper. I'm like, wait, what? Okay, so apparently she does like a black accent, where she does like a black voice. And I guess in other movies or in her comedy acting like that. I've never heard her do it. Like I said, I don't know who she is, but a lot of people just seeing her name in the movie were like, fuck this movie. I'm done with it. I'm not even doing it. So I'm like, wow. This is crazy. So apparently she's that problem.
I was not aware of that.
I wasn't aware of it either, but apparently that is a thing. She do that. But like I said, we're talking about a culture appropriation. Like
but
I said,
what about isn't that like what Wu-Tang does? And why ain't Wu-Tang on the soundtrack?
Don't get me started on the soundtrack. Don't get me started on that soundtrack. I'm gonna talk about the soundtrack. No, fuck it, let's talk about the soundtrack. Okay. Now Wu-Tang is not on the soundtrack. However, the soundtrack is more like a Asian based, like Asian artists, soundtrack on it. But here's the thing, Eli, the cultivator of the album, whatever like that, the person that did the album is Rich Brian. Are you familiar with Rich Brian?
No. Okay,
so Rich Brian is a rapper that changed his name from Rich Brian because he used to be called Rich Chigga, short for Chinese, you know what. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's in charge. He was in charge of the album. Yeah. So when I'm listening to the album, and like we said, we talk about Awkwafina, we talk about Rich Chigga, and I'm listening to this album, not the score, the actual album, where a whole bunch of rap like 21 Savage, stuff like that. And it's a hip-hop album, but it's not really a hip-hop album. It's like a hip-hop album by people assimilating hip-hop. It's not Mexican food, it's Taco Bell. That's the feeling I'm getting.
So it's more like Asian American. Like,
yes, Asian.
This is more Asian American than an Asian Chinese culture.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a Hollywood movie. So that's heard it was because of that. She got the role. She said I wasn't Asian just to get a role. I won't act. Right. That's the thing. That's what really people got mad at about, because she does a black accent. She does a black accent, but like, why don't she ever do like a stereotypical Asian accent? And she said, I won't do that because it's racist. Well, what the fuck is doing a black accent is doing? What is that? So yeah, but like I said, we get mad at whoever we want to. It's we cancel who we want to cancel. So that's my thing about that. But yeah, the album is like it's a whole bunch of Asian guys rapping. I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about it. It's not my rap, but like it's just like you said. Asian culture does seem to assimilate a lot of black culture, but you can't get mad at that because a lot of black culture does assimilate Asian culture. We talked about Wu-Tang Clan. I just showed the picture of Last Dragon.
But it was Kung Fu fighting.
Dolomite, Black Belt
Yeah.
Jones. We can go by all these movies that assimilated Asian culture. Don Cheadle in Rush Hour with Kung Fu Kenny. All these rappers know Kung Fu Kenny. All of these anime cosplayers.
And then I'm gonna whoop your ass.
Right. So even the cosplayers that cosplay anime, like you see all these blurs that are in the anime and stuff like that, because it's just like kung fu movies caught on, with the 70s black audience, just like anime is catching on with the 2020 black nerd audience. It's the same thing, Eli. So you got a whole bunch of black people still assimilating Asian culture. However, they get mad when Asians assimilate black culture.
Yeah. Here's the native perspective. Dun, 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 dun. Just don't wear headdresses.
Okay, I'm gonna say, Eli, don't get canceled. Don't get canceled. But yeah, you're right.
Just don't wear headdresses. Jesus Christ! Enough with the culture appropriation. Stop wearing headdresses.
Okay, that's what I was about to ask you, Eli. Okay, because like I said, on Shang-Chi's Facebook page, they got all the merch. All the merch on there. It's got his suit on there. His Goku leather jacket, with the yellow and shit on there, and he's wearing his. So is it wrong for us to wear, just like Shang-Chi for Halloween?
I know. Like you said, like anybody can dress up as Black Panther. Just don't don't wear black.
You're right. Don't wear blackface. That's all. Just
underneath,
don't wear
you can wear the mask. Just don't shit.
Right, because it will show up when you run for president election, and they will show your Black Panther Halloween outfit later on. But even if Eli, even if there's an Asian superhero, a Native American superhero that has a headdress, Red Wolf gets a movie. It makes $1 billion.
Oh yeah,
so
that's gonna be.
That
won't ever happen. But
I'm saying in an alternate variant, what if universe where Doctor Strange, saved his wife instead of his hands. In that universe,
if it's the actual, that's the thing. If it's actually his outfit, if it's his costume, like if it's his uniform, sure.
Yeah.
But don't wear just any old stupid shit.
Right.
Molly of Denali, that cartoon, the Alaskan Native cartoon. It's like Native Dora the Explorer actually addressed that. Like, yeah, you can dress up as Molly. Just don't put her in buckskin. You can. Right. She has an outfit on the show. You can dress up as that.
Dress up as that. Now, 616. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, because culture appropriation, people just throw that word out there. But in America, it really is a blurry line. It's a blurred line. Because the thing is, America is a melting pot. We hang around each other all the time. Different cultures are going to bleed into each other.
Yeah.
Hell, Eli, a lot of times people say comic book shit. This is white shit. So even us doing this shit is doing white shit. Like we hear it all the time.
Oh yeah. I go to the res and like, oh, you listen to metal.
Right.
Like all those white boys. Meanwhile, these motherfuckers are listening to fucking Skinner and shit.
Right. So it's like some stuff is unavoidable. You're going to do it. But however, there is a hard line. There is a hard line where you got Elvis Presley, inventing rock and roll. I'm sorry, he didn't. But people still think that, and it goes on with, with Post Malone and Miley Cyrus inventing twerking and stuff like that. Or, Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, the girl with no ass invented twerking.
Right, but she invented twerk, or Justin Timberlake, got all these R&B songs, then holler out All Lives Matter, So there's a blurred line, but it's clear when you cross that line. That's all, Yeah. So, but we could talk about that all day long, but yes, this movie I feel like is more from the Asian American perspective than the Asian perspective. I think that's why Awkwafina is in this movie.
I think that's why she's in it. I think him, that sense, the immigration, him being an immigrant and coming over and trying to blend in with American culture and being poor, and they were like they were valet parking and
when he was rich in his home country.
Yeah. Yeah,
which is a story from a lot of Asians. Like we saw the hell in you ever watch Fresh Off the Boat?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've seen
Same
some.
thing. Yeah, same thing that happened. They were rich over there, came over here and struggled, but
Yeah.
a lot of us do it because we think it's cool. We've seen a lot of other cultures do it to show gangster and stuff like that. Like I said, it's so much rap music out there. Like I said, you got white suburban kids dressing up like 50 Cent and all stuff like that. So
Jake Paul and shit.
Trigger one. It's like Jake Paul triggers both of us, but in different ways, But yes, Jake Paul. Oh man. So yeah, that's all we got to say about Shang-Chi. Eli, slap a score on it. Slap a score. What you think about it?
I'll give it a 3 out of 5. I thought it was. I liked it for the most part. Like I said, as a martial arts fan, I thought it was okay. As a Marvel movie, I did I like this? I think I might have liked this better than Black Widow. Now that I think about it.
Really? You think?
Yeah.
Like you think that's it? Okay.
I
That's right.
thought
You thought it was on the same level as Wonder Woman 84. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was fine. It's another serviceable Marvel flick. I wish it wasn't weighed down by the Marvel stuff. I wish it could just breathe on its own. Why Abomination is fighting Wong? I don't know.
Because it's Marvel. I mean, that's the same reason you knocking it is what people want to see.
Yeah, it's like that. That's what I was like saying. Like, why is Abomination in this movie and not in where he's supposed to like why is Taskmaster in the Black Widow movie? Why is Kang fighting Loki? Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It's just like I said, that setting up of other shit gets sort of weighs down when I sometimes I just want the movie to just breathe on its own.
I disagree. I disagree. Like I said, I see your opinion on it, and it is a problem with Marvel when they just like shoehorn stuff in there. But I don't think the Marvel shoehornness weighed the movie down because I think it was so brief. Like it was there to remind you was in a Marvel movie, but it was like Abomination was tagging along with him the whole time.
Yeah.
Or he was the main villain of the movie. Like I'm come to destroy the world. No, he shows up and leaves. He was He was basically a jobber for Wong. That's all he was.
Yeah, and then the end. Yeah, of course, the ending credit scenes like, oh, the rings have some alien shit in it. So okay.
I mean, but
So
that's what
set.
you go to these the movies
We're
for.
set. Okay, here comes the Eternals. Like,
Yeah, give us for what is Marvel connection? Oh, you haven't seen the game? Oh, well, we just gave them all of them. Abomination and Wong show up, and there's an end scene where Shang-Chi and Awkwafina join the Avengers. I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I guess, but yeah, that's what happened.
And then they're singing karaoke again.
And then they sing karaoke again. Yeah, the Hotel California sing. Yeah. Eli, I'm gonna slap a score on it. I'm gonna say 5 out of 5.
No shit.
I know we were gonna have different opinions on this or whatever. That's why I prepared a whole bunch of stuff on it. Like I said, because it did what I wanted it to do. It blended, martial arts, Hong Kong martial arts cinema. And yes, you could say it was watered down. You could say they ripped off everybody else and was doing a Xerox version of that. But that's fine. Because you got that and the Marvel stuff. The same reason you knocking it because it's shoehorning Marvel stuff in. I like it because it's shoehorn Marvel stuff in, but it did in a way wasn't shoehorn. It was like you can forget, like if you take those elements out, you forget this was a Marvel movie.
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool? No.
And like I said, if they would have made this in the 90s and 2008, that would have been the movie you would have expected. But this one, they show Wong shows up to remind you.
The thing is, I kind of expected it to be that way. You know what I mean? Like I knew, and that's the thing. I was like, ring stuff. Was that Fin Fang? I was like, is that Fin Fang Foom, the evil dragon at the end?
Here's the thing: is that Fin Fang Foom? If you want him to be,
okay,
that's the answer.
Because he kind of looked like, is it? Because I saw that
he was, but he wasn't. He could have been Cthulhu or whatever. Because
I saw this at the drive-in and it was a little dark and shit. You know what I mean?
But here's my thing, Eli. And that makes sense. So you saw it at drive-in. You said it was dark. Okay, I saw the movie in IMAX. My first IMAX experience of I won't say my first. I think Fast and Furious was the first.
They got one by you now?
They finally got one by me, so I didn't have to drive to New Orleans to get one. So that's my thing, Eli, because I saw this movie in IMAX and this big screen and stuff like that. That may be skewing my opinion of the movie. I don't know. Maybe. I just know I had an awesome time watching it, but it may be because I saw it big IMAX and then watched it on my phone or watched it on Disney Plus, stuff like that, because I think where you watch the movie will affect your experience of what the movie is.
Yeah.
Now, talking back to 616, man, now whether or not it's Fing Fang phones like that, it could, like I said, when he popped up, I thought maybe it's Fing Fang phone. But here's the thing, Eli, at the end of the day, does it matter?
I guess
Big monster. You know,
Big-
if you want to be Think Fang Foam, cool. If not,
but comics, man. You
but
gotta have
comics, you gotta get me Think Fang
Ugh.
Foam. We're like,
Yeah,
it's close enough. It's,
yeah.
or,
And I
or
guess
not.
I was never a huge Shang-Chi fan in the comics. I mean, the new stuff is cooler because it
Right.
isn't as problematic and cringy. Because, like,
Right.
yeah, I mean that those old comics were shitty spy stories.
And that's the thing, like the whole tone was different in those old books. Like I said, they were basically James Bond comics with Bruce Lee in them. That's all they were. There was no supernatural shit in there. The only supernatural shit you got in those books was when a Marvel superhero pops up, when Spider-Man or Man-Thing shows up. You know,
occasionally a giant spider or a giant scorpion would show up and they'd fight for no reason at all. But
but that was because Dr. Fu Manchu did some experiments. Like they had an explanation for it, you know.
Yeah, like Fu Manchu was like part of M16 or whatever, or MI6, you know, back then. And like, yeah, those comics were just shitty spy stories, you know.
Right.
So I wasn't into that shit. And this movie, there was element, and I think I would have liked the movie to have leaned more into the gangster triad,
right,
themes,
right,
because the 10 Rings were like this underground criminal organization. It would have been cool to get some of that more gangster feel, but they touched on that. So it's like it was an amalgam of all these genres of Hong Kong cinema. You had the fantasy, you had the straight up martial arts, you had even different styles. Like I said, you had him being the boxer, and then you had her being the Michelle Yeoh doing Tai Chi. You had some wire work, you had some wuxia sword stuff, So it just like, it was just like a big melting pot, it was a soup, I guess,
Yeah,
and,
I mean, like I said, it was a love letter to Hong Kong cinema. Like I said, just like you saying you wish it was more grounded, street level, because Shang-Chi is a street level hero. Like I said, people want to know he's a Marvel superhero. What are superpowers? He didn't have any. He's just a dude. His only powers are these hands. That's his powers. So every now and then he'll get a power up. Tony Stark can give him superpower nunchucks. Scarlet Witch will make shadow clones of him. Every now and then. For the most part, he's just a dude. So yeah. My thing is, like I said, I would have you could have stretched this out to a trilogy. The first movie could have been street level, triad ninja shit. Then it could have escalated to the third trilogy to the big kaiju monster thing.
And I'm not saying I was expecting it to be like, Jackie Chan level Jet Li shit, because the heyday of Hong Kong cinema is over. It died in the 90s, so all that wire work. Once the Matrix, came out, once you saw like Charlie's Angels and Jessica Alba and Ben Affleck and Daredevil doing shitty wire work where they totally lacked the grace and style that you saw in the Hong Kong flicks. Once that shit started happening, that shit was done. So I wasn't expecting that, So like I said, it was like, it was a homogenized version of it, and I thought it was fine, I'm not knocking it. It didn't blow me away, but it was about what I expected, a Disney-fied version of Kung Fu shit.
Yeah, which is what sold people. So I'm gonna just rank it whatever I put that at. Like I said, Captain America, Winter Soldier. Like I said, me personally, I'm putting it in that rank. Now, like I said, my blackness will not allow me to say it's better than Black Panther. I can't do that. So we're just gonna put that out there. But I will say, where people complained about the third act in Black Panther, where the CGI they said sucked and the fighting scene sucked, that is not a problem with this movie. Like the money is on the screen.
I very much thought the third act is what. Yeah. Okay, Disney. This is Disney showing their dick. Yeah.
Right. Like they're trying with this one.
Yeah. The fantasy shit was dope. Yeah. Can I have a request for you guys?
By
the way, nice tease. Oh shit! You know what? We don't sell those. That was Outright Geekery, right?
Well, Outright Geekery gave it. That's the thing. We'll have to talk about that and find out. That I dropped the ball on that.
Yeah,
I will figure that out.
We did have merch. We did have hoodies and shirts and hats.
We still got it, but we don't know. We will find it.
But we were a part of another website that put out all that stuff, and that website is no longer functioning. It's
technically we're still affiliated with them, kind of.
Yeah, they're more of a Facebook group now, but all that stuff is kind of is up in the air.
We still have access to it. I just forgot about it. I'll get back on it. That was always
616 Mortal Kombat versus Shang-Chi. I'm gonna go with
Okay.
Shang-Chi.
Really? That's a thing? That's a thing?
Yeah, I didn't think the Mortal Kombat movie was that good. That's just
It was okay. I mean,
it was okay.
It was okay. Yeah, I wouldn't even compare them, to be honest with you.
Like the fight scenes in Mortal Kombat were dope. Way better than Shang-Chi fight scenes.
I disagree. I
but
disagree
the
with that.
storyline in Mortal Kombat sucks.
Right. Yeah, I disagree with both of that. Yeah. I don't think there's anything Mortal Kombat does better than Shang-Chi. But like I said, other than blood, other than it was violent and bloody.
Yeah, it was violent and bloody. You know,
Yeah.
sure. You know, people getting sawed in half. Sure,
Yeah.
that's what. You know. But I didn't think Mortal Kombat was that great.
It was watchable. I didn't hate it. Some people hated it. I was like, it was a thing. It was okay. It was better than most video game movies we get.
And
You know.
Shang-Chi got a Max comic in the 2000s.
Yeah,
Oh,
he did get that.
Was that,
everybody got a Max comic. Yeah,
the
Luke
Heroes
Cage got
for
one.
Hire and
No. I think he got a solo. I think he got a solo. Like Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. I think.
okay.
I think they
'Cause
brought it back in the 2000s.
I read some of that shit with the Heroes for Hire. You know,
He was in that also. Like everybody was in it. That 2000 Heroes for Hire book. Everybody was in that book. So they
it
was
was
just like whatever.
It was a Max book. Yeah, it was a Max.
It was a Max book too. Yeah. So like I said, he's on the come up. And for people that haven't read his new run, read his new run. His new run is pretty good. We've actually reviewed every single book in that run on this show. So and we liked it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The new Shang-Chi comic is dope.
Yeah. So
And it makes, and as a martial arts movie fan like me, it makes deep cut references to that whole genre.
Right. And all the problematic shit that was in those old comics. Matter of fact, honestly, some of y'all should probably go read the old shit also, just to see how far he's come.
Yeah.
Because some of the shit be like, whoa, they got away with that back then?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what I'm glad this movie, isn't like that. I'm glad that it blended, the triad element and then the fantasy element, that he wasn't this super spy, crappy, shitty James Bond flick.
Because if he came out in the 90s with Brandon Lee as the lead, that's what it would have been. It would have just been that. Yeah.
Yeah. It was less espionage and more Hong Kong.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, yeah, we're done with Shang-Chi. Appreciate that. We're going to go on with the rest of the podcast. And Eli, you are up. So,
Am I?
Yeah. Whatever this is.
The wonderfully freaky creatures we'll see in the movie. What? What are we doing?
It was your thing.
Wonderfully freaky creatures. What? Oh, Resident Evil.
Yeah,
that's a long tag.
I just copied and pasted. I didn't even read it.
So did you know about this? Because I didn't know about this.
Oh, I knew there is a thing coming out. I knew there was a Netflix thing coming out, but I didn't know it was like a actual movie. Minshew was a weird character research. Yes, he is. Yeah. Oh, and we got to say that Marvel actually lost the rights to Fu Manchu back in the 90s or the 80s, one or the other. So that's why he's not in this movie. And plus, even if he was in this movie, China would have banned this shit on site because they do not fool Fu Manchu. Matter of fact, even the fact that Fu Manchu is even tied to this character at all made China not want to do this movie, not want to release this movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. So apparently, there's a Resident Evil movie coming out. Mm-hmm. I did not know this. I know about the Resident Evil series coming on Netflix, and that they've been putting out Resident Evil animated stuff on Netflix. But there's a live action Resident Evil movie coming out in November.
That's right around the corner. Was not expecting that.
But I did not know about this.
Okay, is that Mila Jovovich chick in this?
No, this is no,
okay.
It's not. And I this is almost a week old, so I forgot. But they had the list of the cast, and it's got Claire Redfield, it's got Leon Kennedy, it's got I think Wesker's in it, or Chris Redfield, and so. But it's called Welcome to Raccoon City. It looks like straight up the first game. Where they're in the house.
Cool. Okay. So hopefully it's good.
He heard the internet is crapping all over the Resident Evil reboot. Which
game,
one?
The
this
game
one?
Of the movie. The game of the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, it's let me see. So like I said, these Resident Evil movies have all sucked so bad. I didn't even like the animated movies. I thought they sucked too, to be honest with you. They were slightly better than the live action Mila Jovovich shit.
They were hit or miss for me. I did enjoy a few of them.
Hell, I don't even like all the games.
Yeah.
Some of the games are good, some of them aren't. The brand new reboot, like brand new. This is start off because, like I said, Wesker I think died in the other ones, so he's back. Or it's a zombie movie, so it doesn't matter if he died. Yeah, he's come back. Got playing Leon, my favorite Resident Evil character. Oh yeah, the blonde one that looked like a surfer. Yeah. Only thing I like about this movie when Chris Redfield punched a boulder for some reason. I don't know. These movies, the games are weird as fuck. Yeah.
The one on the roof, the movie where it takes place on the roof, I thought that was pretty cool. But
they
all
blur to me, but
yeah, they're all hit or miss. And the games, I like 2 was great. 2 is like one of my all-time favorite games. 4 is great.
5 is my favorite. 5 is my favorite.
I don't know if I played that. Or is that the one in Africa?
That's the one in Africa. The one where he was shooting Africans and everybody got pissed off, so they made him change it because they were like, "Oh, this white man just going around with a shotgun shooting zombies with forks in the nose." Oh shit!
Yeah.
So they had to change that. What I used to do in that game is because my partner was Shiva, so I used to have all like the big ammo guns, like machine guns, shotguns like that, and give her all the bullshit like herbs and shit and medicine.
Yeah.
Like you carry my bullshit while I carry the manly shit.
Yeah,
so.
Resident Evil 2 was a blast for me. That was like my favorite, like probably it might be my all-time favorite game.
What, Resident Evil 2?
Yeah, for the old PS1.
It's up there. It's up there. Like it's up there. I played it because I think my roommate had it in college. But yeah, that game was awesome. New Ruby. Is he black? Probably. If he is, of course they're gonna be pissed. It's okay.
No, yeah, I don't know. I just heard about this. I was like, really? There's another movie coming out in the theaters?
I should have put this in the video game section. Why did I put this in the video game section?
Yeah.
Oh well. Hindsight 2020. Now let's go to the video game section. So we're gonna, like I said, we've been talking about China the whole time and how they're probably gonna tank Shang-Chi. You know what, Eli? Another reason black people are mad about Shang-Chi, not only because of Awkwafina, but because of how China treated Black Panther. Because even though everywhere else in the world, I just gotta say it's a thing. It was, like I said, it was one of the highest grossing movies in America or in North America, but in China, it's one of the lowest grossing Marvel movies they ever put out there. And why? Because China said the movie was too black. Why aren't there any white people in this movie? I don't want to see this. So just the fact that China said that shit, it rubbed people the wrong way. So like, since China didn't support Black Panther, we're not going to support Shang-Chi. I'm like, that's a dumbass reason to boycott, but it's the internet. People have done dumber shit. What are we talking about? China limits online video game. Oh yeah. So in China, just made a rule you can only play video games 3 hours a week and only on the weekends. So that's I couldn't live over there, Eli. I'd go to jail or some shit. I don't know. So my heart goes out to the Chinese. So I guess they banned rap last year also, or the year before.
They do a lot of fucked up shit over there.
Yeah,
which again, cancel culture is bullshit. They do all this fucked up shit over here, and Disney doesn't give a fuck.
And they kiss their ass. Like
Disney
I said,
doesn't give a shit.
Look, Taiwan is a country, so there's no reason to get pissed off at Johnson just because they don't recognize Taiwan as a
Marvel
country.
Don't give a shit what China does.
Because that's where all their money comes from. Half of their box office comes from China. That's why they are kissing China's ass any way they can to get Shang-Chi over there. They can, because if they don't, you're not getting a Shang-Chi shoot. It's gonna be it. I couldn't see you going to jail for gaming. I probably wouldn't. I play offline. I'd find some way around it. They might have drones and shit to steal spot me
on your
playing.
phone and shit.
Yeah, mobile gaming. They'll find some way to catch me.
Hey, where's that? The little football, the electronic football that fucking my boss gave us.
Oh yeah, can we play that? Does that count? Remember when China didn't want Iron Man 3 Marvel to put China Man subplot longer to China audience accessibility? Yeah, they made it some bullshit. That's why they changed Mandarin, because China wouldn't like it. But we all know Marvel's full of bullshit because they end up doing it anyway. That's why this movie is out. Yeah. All right, so like I said, the next part of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like I said, this is the Comic Book Bullies, where we talk to comic books. And I guess, Eli, we're gonna let you go first because you said you want to review this book. It's actually the number one book of the week. Well, the number one selling book of the week.
Is it?
Yeah, it was number one. It's Batman.
Oh,
of course, it's
shit.
Batman.
I guess I'll go first.
Oh shit! Of course, we do all know Batman is gonna outsell everybody. So yeah.
Let me see. Do I have? Let's see. Okay. All right. So Batman, Fear State Alpha, number one. Mm-hmm. Tinian setting up his Fear State event. Yes, the Fear State event is finally here, and
Not
this book,
Future State, but Fear State.
yeah, Fear State. You know, which will lead into Future State, which we already know what happens because Future State happened already, so we already know what's going to happen.
Like,
But-
spoiler alert. Yeah.
We already know all this. So basically, this book, it's a flashback. Simon Saint is meeting up with the Scarecrow in Arkham and basically devising their sinister plan to use fear to turn Gotham into a police state, you know? And then we get to see all the other folks from the Bat family characters setting up their tie-in books, basically.
Basically, yeah.
And basically pretty much, you know, putting everybody in their, you know, their starting positions for this huge event that we already know what's going to happen.
Because they already spoiled it. So, yeah.
So 2 out of 5. I didn't give a shit.
Damn, you kind of roasted this book. Okay.
I did not give a shit about this. This book was pretty useless. You know, we already know what that's a thing. Since Future State already came out, we already know it's basically fucked up Tinian's run. You know,
Yeah, because that may be one reason why he's leaving. You know,
yeah,
because he had the story he had planned out, but he can't plan it out because they've already said what's going to happen. You know.
yeah. I mean, the art's pretty cool. You can see the art is pretty cool.
Oh, the art was awesome. That's
Yeah.
the reason I read it. Yeah.
But you know, there's some pretty interesting ideas that it brings up about, you know, cops being unfit to be policemen. Like, you know, what's his name? Mahoney, or what's his name?
Sean Mahoney. Yeah.
Yeah, that asshole. He's an asshole, and when he's not on the job, and then he's gonna be Peacekeeper 1. So, you know, it brings up that, you know, that the issue of, you know, policing.
Yeah.
But
well,
other than that,
she's a Batgirl.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. So other than
Come
that, this book was pretty useless. I didn't give a shit. And I don't know if I even give a shit about this whole event. So
Yeah, because like I said, basically Tini is about to clock out anyway, so he just was writing this shit just so he can go do some other shit. So he doesn't care why she wait, but it's Batman. So yeah. Let's see. In Future State, I was like, man, Future State sucks.
the future sucks.
Yeah.
The future does suck.
You know what? Image did this back in the 90s. So Image, you know, when they had their Wildcats run and stuff like that, Wildstorm. So after the 8th issue, I think the 10th issue, they actually released issue 25. So you saw all the fucked up shit that happened in issue 25. You're like, oh, what the fuck? So every other book after that was leading up to issue 25. So you already knew having issue 25. You're just reading what led up to that. So Future State kind of feels like that. You know, with Jim Lee at the helm, I can kind of see them kind of just remaking that whole thing. So yeah. All right. So what do we got? Next book I'm going to do is Dark Ages #1. This is a Marvel book with Tom Taylor. Tom Taylor, y'all. Like I said, Tom Taylor is on a Marvel book. So I was like, yeah,
hell yeah,
I'll check that out. See what's going on with that. You know, I'll buy that for $1 or $8 or whatever the fuck this book was. But yeah,
5.
Yeah, shit. I just press order.
Add to cart.
Add to cart. I don't know what I paid for it. Oh shit. So yeah. So there we go. Okay. So basically, what this book is basically like, what if the Marvel universe was in the Dark Ages, didn't have electricity? But anyway, we're gonna start with what the book is going on. Basically, we have, and this is not in canon. I'm pretty sure this is not in canon. So what's going on? We have
because Wanda's alive.
That's right. Wanda's alive. The X-Men still
Or
around.
she gets killed again, but she's alive.
Yeah, that's true. And plus, Luke Cage and Jessica Jones are still married or not married or whatever the hell's going on, because I don't know what's going on with their ship. Oh, and this is how we know it's not canon, because well, not Danielle. Yeah, Mayday's back. You know, the alternate universe daughter, Spider, whatever. So she's on the ceiling. So we know this is not in the 616. It's another universe. So Tom Taylor can do whatever the hell he wants to do, you know. And basically while they're doing whatever they're doing, Spider-Man spider sense go off and it's the worst spider sense he's ever had. Every spider sense goes off. So you know it's bad. He said normally when it goes this bad, that means because Galactus is coming. But with the way it's going right now, it feels like Galactus is already here and already taking a bite out of, you know, the Earth. So this is bad, whatever's going on. So then you got Moon Girl right here. And she's just like, oh, I see something bad. I need to go. And she gets on Devil Dinosaur and goes off. So people don't know about Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Kids about it. They're delightful. Yeah. So yeah, so you got the X-Men, they know what's going on. Apocalypse knows what's going on also. He just says, yes, I can hear you. So we know this is ominous. Is going to be a play into effect later on. So basically, Spider-Man is like, look, I need to go talk to Reed Richards. So I talked to Reed Richards. Reed Richards has Moon Girl, Devil Dinosaur down there, and they talk about what's going on. Basically, the earthquake's going on. It's something happening down at the bottom of the earth. So we find out what's going on. So that's when the Watcher shows up, and when the Watcher shows up, you're already fucked. That's basically what happened.
Shit's fucked up.
Your shit's fucked up. That's when the Watcher shows up. So, yeah, he basically telling them what's going on. So basically, they have some evil dude called the Unmaker who is 10 billion years old, and they made him to kind of like stop entropy, like to eat galaxy, eat world, stuff like that. But he got out of control, got too hungry. He just started eating any galaxy he wanted to, any Earth he wanted to. So the Living Tribunal, who is the second most powerful entity in the Marvel universe behind the one above all, he just, tried to destroy the Unmaker but couldn't destroy him. So like he just put him to sleep. He just put him on this planet that was just forming called Earth. Because of course he did, So he wakes up 10 billion years later and now he's hungry. So he's waking up and trying to punch his way out of the Earth core. So we're like, okay, we need to find a plan. So they get all the smartest people in the Marvel universe: Black Panther, Professor X, Tony Stark, Shuri, I think it's Hank Pym, some other people, Moon Girl, Val, stuff like that. So they devise a plan to just go to the Earth, just punch it. So yeah, they need all the smart people to just do that, So they got it. They got their strike force. They have Wanda, they have Vision, they have Doctor Strange, Invisible Woman, so she can stop them from getting, melted in the Earth's core, and they go to the Earth's core. So they go there. They find the Unmaker is woke up. He's not at full power, but he's got the power to fuck them up. So that's when thing is just like it's clobbering time. So Wakanda, of course, not affected, but every other city is getting destroyed because this dude is just punching the Earth core and just creating earthquakes wherever he's punching. Atlantis is destroyed. They're done. The Wolverines, Laura, X-23, and Honey Badger, they're saving people, the Avengers, the Runaways, the Champions, all saving everybody. And yeah, so Thing decides to try to punch this god and gets, obliterated.
Unmade.
Unmade. That's right. He got unmade. It's a slaughter. So yeah, so Wanda tries to fight and tries to use her reality alternate powers to unmake him, but he unmakes her. And then that's when Vision gets pissed off. Wanda, no, you rushes at her, and he goes into it and it buys like a few seconds, whatever like that, but he gets killed also. I think. I don't know. So Doctor Strange, I know how to beat him. I'm gonna open a portal to another universe that is nothing but a big ass universe-wide EMP. And I'm gonna just blast him with it. That should take him out because he runs on electricity. So he does that. So he makes this big ass EMP. But right before he gets taken out, he stabs Strange right through the chest. So Strange is dead. The EMP is still going, blasting his ass. And Strange uses the last bit of energy he has left right before he dies to throw Sue Storm back to New York. And she died. But he dies before he can close the EMP portal. So the EMP portal is still on planet Earth, and it knocks out all the power on the Earth. So everything's dead. Nick Fury, Helicarrier dies. Iron Man loses a leg, falls because EMP affects him. Ant-Man's, a giant man's thing doesn't work anymore because it runs off electricity.
So he's stuck big.
Yeah, so he's stuck big. Pacemakers go out. Vision's daughter dies. So even if Vision did survive the God monster, whatever like that, he's dead anyway because of the EMP. Spider-Man's web shooters don't work.
Yeah, that's I actually went, oh shit.
I was like, I thought that was mechanical, not like whatever.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, his webs.
Right. So he crashes and he thinks Mary Jane is dead. So he goes because the apartment, got destroyed. So he goes in there and it turns out Mayday saved everybody. So everybody's alive. So yeah. So we cut to 7 years later. No power. They've gone without power for 7 years. And now and he's telling the story about, oh yeah, and there was a time a few years later when the apocalypse happened. And then we see all these guys like Venom and I guess Steampunk Iron Man and She-Hulk and Beast and
Steampunk,
yeah. So to be continued. So I was like, it's whatever. I don't know. It didn't just grab me. I don't know.
I was thinking this was going to be like Savage Avengers, like it was going to be all fantasies and dragons and elves and shit. Another War of the Realms
Hyperion
shit.
age and shit.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Another War of the Realms and shit. But then I was like, oh, okay, all right. So I was intrigued because of that.
Yeah, it's kind of like Deceased, but it didn't grab me like Deceased did, you know. But it is Tom Taylor feel like he's going back to the well, you know.
Yeah, this is just basically setting up.
Yeah, so it probably will get better, but you're right. This is a whole bunch of setup right now.
Yeah, so I'll give it another go. At least another issue.
Yeah, to see if it gets better. But yeah, so what's next on your plate?
Should I do Hellions number
Go
15?
for it. Yeah.
Okay, so Hellions number 15.
You know, for somebody that hates X-Men, you read way more X-Men.
I'm only reading this and what do you call it? And New Mutants are the only X books I'm really reading, right? Yeah.
Is that Bishop?
So yeah, no, that's Grey Crow, John Grey Crow.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. So so Hellions number 15, Sinister. You know, he's finally been exposed. You know, so he set up the Hellions to die so he could steal DNA of the Locust Vial. You know, from Araco during that whole Exosword shit. You know, so Karn, is that his name? Karn, the leader, shows up to Krakoa to take revenge on
Zorn or whatever.
I thought it was Karn or something.
The guy with the helmet.
The leader of the Locust Vial or whatever.
Oh, we might be talking about two different people then. Yeah.
Yeah. So so he shows up, you know, to take revenge on Sinister, you know. And the whole Hellions crew don't remember anything, you know, because they died and Sinister erased their memories, you know, before bringing them back, you know. And then it's also revealed that Psylocke was in on it the whole time. Oh, Tarn. It's Tarn with a T. Tarn the Uncaring. That's his name.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, he's these demon mutants from Araco or whatever. So Sinister that's why he sent the Hellions to Araco to get the DNA of them, and then he killed them, and then left them there, and then when he brought them back, he erased their memory, so they didn't know. But now they know because a Sinister clone survived, and now he told everybody. And Psylocke was in on it, and Grey Crow has the hots for her, and he's really pissed.
Who does?
So he's like, what? Yeah. So he's like, he basically builds his, you know, he puts together this gun out of all his body parts and just goes on a rampage and just starts, you know, shooting up everything, going ballistic. And he shoots up this one of the local locust guys. I can't remember his name, but basically he feeds on like ammunition and firepower, and it creates like these little spawn baby things, and they feed on reality or some shit or something. I don't know. It's the fucking X-Men. I don't know this weird fucking powers all the fucking time. I can't keep track of this shit. So anyways, yeah. So this thing is like all these little spawn things are gonna like basically eat the universe. So Tarn has to like create a black hole, because I guess he can do that, and swallow these things, you know, and get rid of them. And then Psylocke admits to Grey Crow that she only was helping Sinister because, you know, he has her daughter, her DNA, and he's threatening to destroy it unless she helps him with his plan, you know.
Okay.
But then Sinister reveals that he has already created a Sinister / Karn or Tarn clone called the Chimera, and it's like a mutant god.
Oh, so the one rule that the X-Men said don't do, Sinister did it.
Yeah,
like so you can't combine, you know, X DNA. But yeah.
So he made a Sinister and Tarn clone, the Chimera here, but it turns out Empath, who's been on the Hellion squad this whole time, turns out he is been undercover working for Emma Frost this whole time, and now Emma knows about Sinister's whole plan. So
and she's on the Quiet Council. Oh wow.
Yeah, and Empath takes over Havoc and has Havoc blow up the place.
Well, damn. Okay.
And to be continued. So yeah, Havoc just blows up the jank and to be continued. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. You know.
Interesting.
4 out of 5. Yeah. Like I said, it's one of the only. This and the New Mutants are the only X books I'm reading. So
Cool. Let's see. Sinister Combination Fest. Yeah, like I said, the X-Men actually have, like, Krakoa has one rule that you can't combine DNA. You know, but it's Sinister. He does what he wants to do. So yeah. So yeah. So the next book I'm going to do is not New Mutants. Sinister War. Why not? Yeah.
Oh, you read that?
Yeah. It's the last one. It's the last book. Well, not the last book I'm doing, but the last book Sinister War is doing.
Okay.
So it's the last book in this run. Yeah. So basically, it's just been a whole bunch of bad guys just fighting Spider-Man, fighting Spider-Man, fighting Spider-Man. So yeah, that's what's going on with that. And basically how the book is going on is that it's more fighting. Yeah. That's pretty much it. So I'm just gonna cut
with
to the chase.
three Sinister Six teams, or how many Sinister Six teams?
Well, another one shows up at the end of last issue. Because then you got Juggernaut, Great Gargoyle, Whirlwind, Living Laser. You know, the Spider-Man's like, I don't remember fighting these guys.
So it's like the Sinister. So it's like the Sinister 24 or something.
Yeah, it's like Sinister 4. He says like 40 guys, so you got to divide 6 by 40. My math is bad, but divide it up, and yeah, that's how many sixes you got. He just calls them the sixes. He was like, they're just all after me. So yeah, so they all fight him. Sin Eater beats his ass, you know, but before he do that, the other Sinister Sixes show up, you know. And they all, you know what? They're so desperate on fighting Spider-Man that they fight each other. So it's a big ass war of them just fighting each other. And they forget Spider-Man's even there, even though he's right there. You know, so and that's the Moreland. I thought it was Morbius, whatever name, but it's actually Moreland. And he is a vampire also, or a soul eater, whatever like that. And he can sniff Spider-Man. So no matter where Spider-Man goes, he's gonna find him anyway. You know. So yeah, so they find Spider-Man and they just kick his ass, even though he's already been getting his ass beat the whole time. You know. But then they get so concentrated on Spider-Man, they start fighting each other just to get to Spider-Man. So they start blasting each other. It's just an all-out, you know, carnage. But anyway, let's just cut to the end. So what goes to the end? Oh yeah, and Boomerang dies. I forgot to tell you that. Which we kind of saw that coming. So
I mean,
Boomerang,
it looks pretty cool. If it's just action, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's just action. Yeah, Boomerang saves Spider-Man because Spider-Man was about to get eaten by Moreland. So since he was there, he just kills him. Instead, just eats him. He's just like, yeah, you wasn't shit. I'm still hungry. You know, so we got Spider-Man. Then you got all the other one. And so the team that Boomerang is on, the Sinister Six team that he was on, joined Spider-Man team because so now it's like them versus everybody else. But anyway, while it's going on, Dr. Octopus actually not fighting anybody. He's just sitting back in the background with some kind of remote control. Yeah. And then he does something where he actually pulls a centipede out of his own ear, hits a button, boom, and knocks everybody out. Everybody's down for the count. So what happens is the centipede that Kendrick put in everybody's ear no longer works. So he's no longer in control. He doesn't have that suicide bomb in their head anymore. So they can just do what they want. So he has a one-on-one talk with Dr. Octopus. He's like, yeah, nobody controls me. I do what I want to do. So since Black Ant was like an Ant-Man villain, can't control ants, I took his stuff, hacked into it to control the centipede. So that way the centipede doesn't work on us anymore. He was like, thanks, Doc. He's like, don't touch me. You know, I didn't do this for you. I did it for me. You know. So he was like, but anyway, Spider-Man, you need to get out of here because some of these guys still want to kill you anyway. So I'm going to give you a 5-second head start. You get out of here. And Spider-Man leaves. And apparently Mephisto and Doctor Strange had a bet going, and Doctor Strange won. Mephisto's like, well, you won. It doesn't matter. I'm going to get him again in a few months anyway, so it doesn't even matter. Which is ominous, and that's the book. So, yeah. So, yeah, apparently it was a thing with Mephisto and Doctor Strange betting on who was going to win, I guess. Let's see. I've been expecting. Yeah, I think everybody was expecting that Boomerang died because he's such a useless D-list villain. Why is he so focused in these Nick Spencer books? So apparently he was going to die. We knew that was going to happen. So I'm glad the run is over. It didn't need to be 4 books. It's
Well, it sounds like I read the shittiest one, and you read the rest of them, which sounded not that bad.
It was just fighting.
Yeah.
That's all it was. It was
Because
like,
the first
no
one was
story.
the first one was all that setup of all that crap that's been soap opera shit that's been going on in the run, and I was
That's
like,
what I liked. I
yeah,
thought it
I
was
was
gonna lead it.
I don't know, but now I was like, oh, I just jumped in to see, oh yeah, let's see him fight all his villains.
Mary Jane doesn't even show up again. He didn't even take the mask off for the rest of these books. It's just fighting. That's all it is. It's just like, oh man. It's like, remember we talk about Shang-Chi? Like if you read those old books, that's all it was. Like the old books, every other page was Shang-Chi fighting a ninja. He just walking down the street. Oh, ninja. Next page, here walking in, taking the shit. Ninja. That's all the book was. There was no story, But yeah, what do you got?
I'll do New Mutants 21, number 21.
Okay.
Let's see here. Do I got one up? So this is yeah. So you got that? Okay, cool. So so Scout was killed. Honey Badger, Gabby, whatever you want to call her.
Oh no, not Honey Badger.
She was killed last issue. And the kids were like, oh shit, who did this? We need to find out who it was. We need to bring her back, see what she remembers. They suspect it was the Shadow King and all that because Amal Farouk has been, talking with them and telling them, giving them pointers, basically befriending these kids.
Mm-hmm. Give them candy.
But they're also like, well, it's Krakoa's not going to resurrect her because she's a clone. So let's do it ourselves. So they do. They sneak into the husk, whatever, and they resurrect her. But then caught by Rain.
Don't they need the 5?
Well, yeah, they all sneak in there and they all they get her back. Rain actually helps them. Like Rain comes like, he's doing.
Okay.
She catches them, and they have this conversation, and they're like, hey, Gabby ends up coming back, so they resurrect Scout, and she's like, hey, you're the last one to see me alive, and blah 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 blah. And they all think Rain killed her, but Rain's like, I don't remember any of that shit. I don't even remember talking to you and all that. So then they're like, oh crap, well, you've been buddy with Farouk this whole time. And so then they're like, oh shit, Farouk's doing some shit to us,
because he's got telepath powers. He can erase their minds. And
so they suspect that it's Farouk. He's up to some. Meanwhile, let's see. Whoops. Meanwhile, on the moon, Warpath is on the moon doing a training exercise with some of the mutant kids, and they're like, cleaning up these little space slugs that are like fucking up the domes up there on the moon. And then they get attacked by the Brood, and there's a big old fight. Warpath and all the kids fighting.
I thought the X-Men controlled the Brood now.
Well, there was some sort of truce. They talk about that. There's some truce going on. Obviously, it's been broken. The Brood are attacking, so they fight. Warpath kicking ass, ripping Broods apart and shit.
Yeah, so basically, fuck Jonathan Hickman. The shit he wrote, never.
Yeah, big ass fight, action shit. The truce is broken with the Brood. Blah blah blah. Back on Earth. So Rain goes and tells Danny Moonstar and Karma about what's been going. Like, yo, I think Farouk is messing around with us. I can't remember, what happened, but I think I might have, killed Scout, or he made me kill Scout. Blah 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 blah. And they're like, okay, we got to do something. Magic's like, okay, let's go get him. And Farouk's like, yes, excellent. Come to me. Let's come and play. So, pretty cool. They do address, there was like a letter they do address the 5 or whatever. Mm-hmm. They talk about, hey, we want to present some. You hear me?
Oh yeah, you went out just for a split second, but you're back now. Yeah.
Okay. So there was a part in this book where the 5 actually send a letter to the council about stating a case for clones to be resurrected, that some clones are actually individuals, and that Cerebro actually recognizes them as individuals. So some of them should be resurrected, like Gabby, like Madeline Pryor, like
Laura,
a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
A few of them. But Scout, they did resurrect Scout. So, but
Cool.
other than that, pretty cool. 4 out of 5.
Cool. Okay. All right. So last book I got is Static #3, season 1. So that's the last one I got. Like I said, I pretty much get them for free because I subscribe to DC Universe. They just give them to me for some reason. Only the milestone books. So only the black books I get for free. Let's see. Where's I gonna go with that? Yeah, okay. So just starting how the book starts off. Like I said, this is book Hot Streak, who right now is Static's main enemy, got caught. So, and he got caught by some government organization which we don't know about, and they're like, "Oh, you want to see us? What do you want with us? What do you think you can offer?" He like, "Names. I give you names." See, obviously, you just run around and don't know who to catch, but I can tell you where to find them, where they come from. I can give you all the bang babies you want to get. So he makes a deal with this government organization to, snitch on the kids and find them where all the kids that got powers are. So, and that's it. Now, back to Static. Last time we left off of Static, he was in a warehouse, and it turns out he was in Hardware's warehouse because that's where they got sent to get all kind of like tech stuff like that. But the police are there looking for Hardware. But Static is in there. Static is like, well, maybe I should just walk out and just tell them I'm not Hardware. But he just thought about it. Now, if I walk out, they're gonna shoot my black ass and worry about it later on with them not a Hardware. So that's not gonna work, So he's just thinking like, okay, I need a distraction. So he gets a book bag, puts all the Hardware stuff in there that steals some stuff from his warehouse, finds a robot, and he turns out that he knows how to like crudely make the robot move because it's metal, but he throws a smoke bomb down to make people think it might be him. So as soon as it comes out, of course, the police shoot the shit out the robot, While they're doing that, he tries to sneak out, and then you got the Metal Gear thing finds him. You're like, oh shit, you found me. So they're like, oh, let's shoot his ass because obviously it's Hardware. So turns out Static finds out that he can control metal, so he stops the bullets right there, by instinct. The bullets don't even touch him. So once you find that out, he just takes all the police guns and just launches them into space. Get the guns out of here. And then he takes off running, runs away, and that's when the police cars chase after him. And it turns out he's standing right on a manhole cover. She's like, what do I do? How do I get out of here? You're like, oh, I'm on a manhole cover. It's metal. So why not use my metal powers to fly? And that's when you get the old school Static Shock flying on a manhole cover. So that's the first time he does it in these books, So, and then they talk about and Eli, I think they're making the Blood Syndicate, but I think they're making the Blood Syndicate like a evil team because Holocaust is on it. I think so, because they got Holocaust in there. He's recruiting bang babies, just like he did in the old Blood Syndicate books, but this time he just anybody,
Okay.
Yeah. So I passed that. Anyway, let's skip all the way to the end. I just got to the cool part. The main part I wanted to talk about is this. He puts on a suit. He puts on the suit, but here's the thing. They do it like the old school 90s. He was like, because I always read anime with my dad, so like that I always want to be a hero. And that's when they show like the Static Shock, from the 90s cartoon. And then he puts on the suit, finds out his suit is like bulletproof, stuff like that. And he finds a Malcolm X hat, which made sense in the 90s because everybody had a Malcolm X hat in the 90s, and he puts it on. And it's old, and it's Static. Eli, do you think kids would get it, the X hat? What it symbolized nowadays in 2021?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. It's like in the 90s when Static wore it, then it made sense. Like it was a thing. But now they're probably thinking something else.
Do people know who Malcolm X is? Like, nowadays,
Oh, of course, yeah. We're woke now. We didn't know who he was in the 90s, but we're woke now. So yeah, we know who everybody is now. So anyway, cut to the end. Him and his dad have a one-on-one. They fix the house, stuff like that. He goes to school, and when he goes to school, they get stopped in class by the same government that was at the beginning of the issue, and they're saying we need to talk to the kid. Some of the kids need to come with us, But right before Darius, who was like this podcaster, he basically went to the bathroom to take a piss. He comes back, he sees those government agents. He's like, oh shit, let me find it. And it's High Street again. High Street is working with a government agency. So turns out Virgil was late for class, so he thinks it's no big deal. I just walk into class 5 minutes later and that's it. That's when Darius grabs his ass in the bathroom. He's like, don't go in there because they're looking for bang babies right now. If they find you in there, you're definitely coming with them. So all the kids in the class, they just leave with High Street. And he was like, don't worry, I know where the other kids live at that aren't in the classroom. And next book says High Street makes a house call again. So like the next issue, he's going back to Virgil's house. So yeah, that's the book. This is a better pickup because you got more static isms, the stuff you expect, from static. So yeah, the art is great. The art has never been a problem with the static book. So yeah. Updated from a garbage. Oh yeah, it was a garbage can. I forgot about that. I can remember if it was a garbage can or a manhole cover. Or it might have been manhole cover in the original comic and a garbage can in the cartoon. I have to go back and see. But yeah, that's what I got. So yeah, it's picking up. I'll stick with it.
Cool.
As long as it's free. Yeah.
All right. My last book I'll do is Star Wars High Republic #9. So basically this is the Star Wars High Republic. This takes place 200 years before the Skywalker era. We have a place called Starlight Beacon that is on the outskirts of the Outer Rim, the uncharted territory of the galaxy that hasn't been mapped out yet. And there's these space pirates called the Nile. And they attacked this Republic fair that is celebrating the opening of the Starlight Beacon. And they killed thousands of people. So the book opens up with some politics, basically. The Jedi Council are arguing with the Senate about what to do about the Nile. Do we go to war?
Favorite part about Star Wars.
Yeah, this is all basically politics. Yeah, they what are they gonna do about the Nile? Do they some Jedi want to like straight up go after him, basically go to war, but some of them are like, no, we need to investigate, find out their terror tactics, because the Nile are using like hyperspace lanes to like make attacks. They can jump in and out of hyperspace, and like basically do some attack shit and then jump into hyperspace again. So that's what they've been doing. And so Keeve, the Padawan turned knight, she goes undercover with the Nile, and she's on some raids with them. But at the end, we see the Nile have captured one of the Hutt allies. So the Hutt, they allied with the Hutt when they were fighting the Drengir, those plant monsters in the earlier story arcs. Mm-hmm. So the Hutts have like and the Jedi are kind of like friends right now, but now the Nile have captured one of the Hutt allies. And they might have blown, maybe Keeve's cover is blown, maybe. So to be continued. So 4 out of 5. This is I'm digging the High Republic stuff. It's basically Star Wars not being weighed down by all the expectations of Skywalker shit or the Old Republic shit. It's just straight up new Star Wars stuff. Star Wars stories, new shit, straight up new shit. We don't have any expectations. We don't have to worry about. Only Yoda is like the only person that exists.
Right. The creators are free to make new stuff. That's the thing. So.
Yeah. So I'm digging it. So, and it's more of a fantasy style. More of a, knights in shining armor, more of a Game of Thrones sort of feel to it. Lord of the Rings feel, less samurai, I guess. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So cool. And I'm booked out.
All right, cool. Like I said, if you listen this long, definitely like, share, subscribe. Appreciate everybody jumping in. Hope you enjoyed our Shang-Chi, whatever you want to call it. It's okay. Whatever you want to call it. Appreciate your review. Tell you what, anybody that watched the movie, rate what you thought about the movie. Put your rating down there on a scale of 1 to 5. We don't do 10 here because 10 is a bullshit rating. 1 to 5. What you think about it? Put it down. Comment. And I don't know what's coming next week. We'll find something to do. It's always something. I think there may be like a Sony PlayStation. They're gonna announce what's going on with the PS5. It was like an update, so we'll know whether or not we can get one or not. But other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, Eli, anything you gotta add?
No, I think we got it.
Cool. Yeah, like I said, this was a meaty show. We got a lot of information in here, but one of our shorter ones. So just gonna leave it at that. So until then, this is Leroy.
This is Eli.
We'll talk to you guys next week. Same bullet time, same bullet channel.
head grew heavy and my sight grew dim. I had to stop for the night. There she stood in the doorway. I heard the mission bell. And I was thinking to myself, this could be heaven and this could be hell. Then she lit up a candle and she showed me the way. There were voices down the corridor. I thought I heard them say, welcome to the Hotel California. Such a lovely place, such a lovely place, such a lovely face. Ready a room at the Hotel California. Any time of year, you can find it here. Her mind is Tiffany twisted. She got the Mercedes Benz. She got a lot of pretty, pretty boys that she calls friends. How they dance in the courtyard, sweet summer sweat. Some dance to remember, some dance to forget. So I called up the captain, please bring me my wine. He said, we haven't had that spirit here since 1969. And still those voices are calling from far away. Wake you up in the middle of the night just to hear them say, welcome to the Hotel California. Such a lovely place, such a lovely place, such a lovely face. They're living it up at the Hotel California. What a nice surprise, what a nice surprise. Bring your alibis. Mirrors on the ceiling, the pink champagne on ice. And she said, we are all just prisoners here of our own device. And in the master's chambers, they're gathered for the feast. They stab it with their steely knives, but they just can't